We have a crisis in the world, tremendous crisis, and also crisis in our consciousness, in us. I see the urgency of change, radical revolution, mutation in the mind. I see it. It is necessary. There is complete quietness of the mind, and that which is silent has vast space. Only then that which is nameless comes into being.
This is Urgency of Change, the Krishnamurti podcast. Where there is compassion, there is supreme intelligence. Not the artificial intelligence of a computer, nor the artificial intelligence of thought. Hello and welcome to episode 265 of Urgency of Change. Each episode of the Krishnamurti podcast is based on a significant theme of his talks. Extracts have been carefully selected to represent Krishnamurti's different approaches to these universal and timeless topics. This episode's theme is Artificial Intelligence and Computers. Upcoming themes are Existence, You Are the World, and Movement. This is a podcast from Krishnamurti Foundation Trust. Please visit the official YouTube channel for hundreds of full-length video and audio recordings of Krishnamurti's talks and discussions. In addition, the Foundation's own channel features a large collection of shorter clips. You can also find our regular Krishnamurti quotes and videos on Instagram, TikTok and Facebook at Krishnamurti Foundation Trust. If you enjoy the podcast, please leave a review or rating on your podcast app. This episode on artificial intelligence and computers has 7 sections. This first extract is from a small group discussion in Ojai 1981 and is titled, "The Intelligence of Thought is Also Artificial."
He and I have been talking about the nature of computers. I also met several experts from America and India. And as far as I can make out, what thought can do, the computers can also perform. They can learn, they can correct themselves, they can beat the master chess players. They have their own artificial intelligence. They can be programmed, and the more astute, clever and informed the programmer, the greater the capacity of the computer. And it can solve problems quicker than the human brain. And the thought creates its own intelligence. And the intelligence of the computer is perhaps equal to that of the intelligence which thought has created. As we are programmed to a certain extent, like the Catholic, Protestant, the Hindus, Buddhists and so on, so is the computer. And then what is true intelligence? The artificial intelligence of the computer And perhaps the thought which creates its own intelligence is also artificial. So, what is intelligence which doesn't belong to either? And if the computer can do almost all the things that thought can do, then what happens to man? Man has lived by thought, has created this world of thought, not nature. He's created the world, economic, social, religious world. And the problems which thought has created, thought cannot solve them. And it may solve economic problems. It may solve social problems, but I question whether it can ever solve the psychological problems. It can't. So, if the computer takes over the activities of thought, and it can diagnose, correct itself, learn, and so becoming more and more and more informed, function on its knowledge as human beings do, then what is man then? That's the real question. What is a human being who has lived on memory, on experience, on knowledge, which the computer can have all that, because it can learn, correct itself, and increase its own knowledge, and perhaps discover new things, then what's going to happen to man?
The second extract is from the first discussion with scholars at Rajghat in 1985 and is titled, AI will include all human knowledge.
I met the other day just before I came to India, 3 computer experts, the very, very latest. And they are going deeper into artificial intelligence. America, according to them, is so far advanced that Japan has given up. You understand? Japan has been competing with the Americans like pouring billions into it. America is so far ahead, they have given up. According to them, it may not be true. According to this expert, so has Russia. They can't keep up with the American run. And the Star Wars may be the threat to the Russians. And artificial intelligence can do most of the things that human beings can do. Argue, have tremendous knowledge, much more than any of us. It will include British knowledge, European knowledge, French knowledge, Russian knowledge. All the Upanishads, all the Gitas, all the Bible, Quran, everything. And it will act. It will tell me what to eat, what not to eat, when to go to bed. For your health, it has already begun. When you can have sex, when you can't have sex, everything it can do. Right? And what's going to happen to the human brain? I don't know if you follow what I mean. If that machine can do everything I can do, except sex, or look at the stars, what is the point of a human being? I don't know if you follow all this. And entertainment industry, which is here too, unfortunately, which is very strong. I don't know if you realize that. Football, tennis, all the things. So, man is caught either with entertainment, right, which implies all the religious entertainment. Then where is man? So this is a very serious question. So this is not just casual talk. This has become a very, very serious question.
The third extract is from the second discussion with scholars in 1985 and is titled, "We Don't Know What Computers Can Do."
There some time ago, 2 months ago I can call, there were 3 very clever people, scientists. We came to Brock, we were talking. They are trying to find out artificial intelligence. You know what that is? If they can find that, you are all gone. You know, your knowledge, your Vedas and Upanishads and Gita and everything is gone because the machine can repeat it. Right? Much better than you and I can ever do it. It will invent theories, it will create gods, it will bring about a new kind of knowledge, it will do it. Right? They are doing it now, sir. I don't know.
Do you think it will be the next century?
Oh yes, it will be there at the end of this. And so, if the machines can do everything that human beings do, except sex and looking at the stars, what's going to happen to us? So, I don't think we know what the computers can do. They're doing incredible things. And your knowledge, his knowledge, has nothing to do with it. I'm not belittling Sam, I'm just stating fact. If the machines take over, as it seems likely, and entertainment, religious, the whole world of entertainment, the human beings are just nothing.
The question you ask us is a wonderful opportunity to ask a counter question. And the counter question is this: how are we going to, what you say appeals to us, but how are we going to find it, to experience it? And
What?
how are we going to
Experience.
experience it, share it?
You can't experience it. To experience it, there must be an experiencer. Right? If there is an experience, he has had 1,000 experiences. He adds another two. That's my whole point. Huh? It is not an experience. It's not something I, K, and you, Y, experience that. It's there like electricity. And I can admire it, adore it, I can worship it, but it's there.
Human beings have only one gift, that is the ability to experience. And you are snatching that away.
What?
And you are snatching that away from human beings.
So,
now what can we hold on to?
I'm not snatching anything away, but I see what experience is. Very small affair. I experience, and what? And that experience gives me knowledge how to climb the mountain or how to read. Right? We depend on experience. But that thing cannot be experienced. I don't know if I'm me. You can't experience water, it's there. I can experience sex, I can experience somebody hitting me, I can experience somebody praising me, and so on, so on.
Water is there, but I can only know it through experience of it.
You only know it because you perceive it. You know the quality of it, you float on it. But all that is part of your knowledge.
Right? If I had no knowledge, I wouldn't.
Wait a minute, that's not the question. All that is based on sensory responses. Right? Yeah. All that, what we call experience, he will translate, sir, what you call experience is based on sensory perceptions. Right? And our sensory perceptions are partial, never complete. Right, sir? Now, to observe with all your senses alert, that's not an experience. Le capito? I mean, you've understood, sir? I don't know. Sir, I look at that cloth and say it's red. Because I've been conditioned to call it red. If you are conditioned to call it purple, we say it's purple. And so the brain is always conditioned by our experience, our sensory responses, right? And our how to argue, how to deny, all the rest of it. I happen to be a Catholic. And my whole attitude towards religion is Jesus, Virgin Mary, and all the rest of it. You can't unlodge me. It's my life. Right? Sorry, I'm not comparing. You are a Hindu or Buddhist, and there you are. And everything is from that conditioning. And therefore, when you say experience, or you must learn this, you must do this, it's all from within the brain, which has become small, conditioned. And the computer cannot be conditioned. You're programming, changing it. I don't follow.
No, that also conditioned. It is fed by conditioned mind.
Yes.
But
wait, you as a Buddhist, I as a Hindu inform it.
yes.
And he as a Christian informs it.
Yes.
But he's learning now, that's what the findings are. He's learning now to receive you, receive me and receive him. And she says, I can repeat all this. But I must go beyond that. They are doing it.
Yes. And you said that human beings get stuck in their conditioning, while a computer can always be renewed with different conditions. With a different condition.
Still it is conditioned.
Yes.
Oh yes. But
Changing the condition.
it's constantly changing.
Constantly changing. That's right.
But we don't.
The fourth extract is from Krishnamurti's sixth talk in Bombay 1981 and is titled The Computer is Changing Society.
We began this series of these talks inquiring the salvaging of society. The society in which we live, the society which man has created in his relationship with each other, and whether that society, which is man's relationship with man, can ever be transformed, can be salvaged. And we inquired into the nature of that society. That society is the product of human relationship. That society is consciousness of man. Consciousness is the society. And we went into that question, whether that society, which has apparently began from the immemorial days of man's existence, can ever be changed, transformed into a peaceful society, a society in which we can live with honor, not rooted in dishonor. I hope you understand. Whether we can live without exploiting each other, whether that society apparently has never been able to be transformed. Man has tried every kind of way to bring about a different society. The communists have tried it, the socialists, the capitalists, the totalitarians have every kind of method to transform that society. And apparently that society has never been able to be changed, because man himself has not been able to be changed. That is, man in his relationship with another has not been able to be changed. And that society, which is an abstraction, is now being changed, not by man, but by machines. Not by any form of endeavor, political, religious, economic, and so on. It's being changed by machine, which man has invented. It's called the computer. I won't go into all that. But one should realize what that computer can do. It's the product of thought, and whatever thought can do, the computer can do. It can learn, it can correct itself, it can think out problems and introduce new problems. With the computer, the robot is changing the industry. Japanese are already doing it. Introducing the computer and the robot to create cars and so on, so on. So the computer is artificial intelligence. It can learn, it can correct itself, it can write out, compose music and so on, so on. So the computer, the machine, invented by man, is changing society. It's changing the structure of outward human existence. Whether you know about it or you're not conversant with it, perhaps it's very little importance, but it is taking place. It's happening. So then, what is man then? This is an important question you have to ask. If the machine can do everything that thought can do, it can invent gurus, rituals, believe in God, it can write poems, it can beat grandmaster in chess, and so on. I don't think many of us realize what a dangerous state we are in, that man is now becoming more and more helpless. Man is becoming a danger to man through the machine. These are facts, not the speaker's invention. This machine, the computer, is going to change the structure of society. We talked a great deal about that. Perhaps in India, in this part of the world, that's not known. The danger man is facing, the crisis in his consciousness. As we said, consciousness is the content. The content makes consciousness. What you think, what you believe, what are your concepts, ideals, your anger, jealousy, your beliefs in God, your acceptance of gurus and their rituals and their absurdities. All that is part of consciousness. This consciousness is the consciousness of all human beings, not your consciousness. It's the consciousness of all human beings, wherever they live. If you examine a little bit closely, objectively, you'll find wherever you live, whether in this part of the world or in the East, Far East, or in the West. Man suffers, goes through various forms of anxieties, uncertainties, obeying, accepting, imitating, conforming. This is psychologically what is man. So you, as a human being, are the rest of mankind. This is a fact. We think we are individuals. We are not. And therefore we seek individual salvation. There is no individual salvation at all. There is only the salvation of the consciousness of man, of what you are.
The fifth extract is from the second talk in Saanen 1981 and is titled, "We have been programmed like the computer."
We were saying, weren't we, that human consciousness is similar to all human beings. Our consciousness, whether we live in the East or West, is made up of many layers of fears, anxieties, pleasures, sorrow, beliefs, every form of faith, and perhaps in the content of that consciousness there is also love, compassion, and from that compassion a totally different kind of intelligence. And always there is this fear of ending, which is death. And also human beings throughout the world, from time immemorial, have sought, have tried to find out if there is something sacred beyond all thought, something that is incorruptible, timeless, and so on. And also we were saying yesterday, there is not only group consciousness, like the business people with their consciousness, the scientists with theirs, and the carpenter with his, and so on. All these layers or content of consciousness are the product of thought. Thought has created extraordinary things technologically, from the extraordinary computers to communication, to robots, and so on, surgery, medicine, if you like that kind of medicine. And also, thought has invented religions. Please don't be angry or impatient or irritated when we point out certain things. When we say all the religious organizations throughout the world are put together, invented brought together by thought. And thought has invented the computer. We must understand the complexity and the future of the computer. The computer is going to outstrip man in his thought. The computer is going to change the structure of society. The structure of government, the structure of society. This is not some fantastic conclusion of the speaker or some fantasy. This is actually going on now, of which we are not aware. The computer can learn, invent, and has a mechanical intelligence. The computer is going to make employment of human beings practically unnecessary. Perhaps human beings may have to work a couple of hours a day. Please, these are all facts that are coming. You may not like it, you may revolt against it, but it's coming. And thought has invented it, and human thought is limited, but the mechanical intelligence of the computer is going to outstrip man. So what is a human being then? You're following all this? These are facts, not some specialized conclusion of the speaker. As we pointed out the other day, day before yesterday, we have talked to several computer experts and all the rest of it. It's going to revolutionize totally our lives. And when you consider what its capacity is, then we have to ask ourselves, what is a human being to do? It is going to take over all the activities of the brain. Most of it. And what happens to the brain then? You understand? Please follow this little bit. They are concerned about a human being whose occupation is taken over by the computer, by the robot, and so on. Then, what becomes of the human? We are put together both. Rather, we have been programmed biologically, intellectually, emotionally, psychologically, through a million years. And we repeat over and over again the same pattern. As we pointed out the other day, we have stopped learning. We'll go into that question of what is learning. Whether the human brain, which has been programmed for so many, many centuries, whether it's capable of learning and immediately transforming itself into a totally different dimension. If we are not capable of that, the computer, which is much more capable, more rapid, more accurate, is going to take over the activities of the brain. Right? See the importance of this, please. This is not something casual. This is very, very serious, desperately serious. The computer can invent a new religion. It can be programmed by an expert Hindu scholar, by the Catholic, by the Protestant, by the Muslim, and it will turn out a marvelous structure of a new religion. And we, if we are not at all aware of what is happening, we will follow that new programmed structure which has been put forward by the computer. See the seriousness of all this, please. So our consciousness has been programmed for thousands and thousands of years. And we have been conditioned, programmed, wired, if you like to put it that way, to think as individuals, to think as separate entities, struggling, conflict, from the moment you're born till you die. We are programmed to that. We have accepted that. We have never challenged, we have never asked if it is possible to live a life totally, absolutely without conflict. We have never asked it, and therefore we never learn about it. We repeat. It's part of our existence to be in conflict. Nature is in conflict, that's our argument. And progress is through conflict. That's what we have been programmed for millions of years. And the religious organizations throughout the world have maintained this individual salvation. And we are questioning very seriously whether there is an individual consciousness. Whether you, as a human being, have a separate consciousness from the rest of mankind. You have to answer this, not just play with it.
The sixth extract is from Krishnamurti's fourth talk in Bombay 1983 and is titled, "What Will Happen When a Computer Can Do Everything We Can?"
I wonder if one is aware of what is happening to our minds, to our brain. If one is aware of the extraordinary capacity of the brain in the technological world, the extraordinary things that the brain, which is the seat of thought, has brought about. Extraordinary things are happening in the technological world, of which most of us are unaware. And technologically, we have progressed, advanced so rapidly. And psychologically, that is what we are. Our behavior, our attitudes, our actions, we are more or less unevolved. We are still aggressive, brutal, cruel, thoughtless for thousands and thousands of years. And apparently, man is still behaving more or less as he behaved 40,000 years ago. And if one had that same energy, that same intensity as one uses in the technological world, if we could go very, very deeply into ourselves and go beyond ourselves, the brain has infinite capacity there too. But very few have taken that journey. Very few have gone into this question, whether the mind, the brain, can ever be free, totally free. And therefore, inquire very, very deeply, search out beyond what lies beyond, if there is anything beyond thought. And we are going to talk over that presently. Some of you perhaps have heard of genetic engineering. That is, man has not progressed, evolved to the same extent as the technological efforts. So, the genetic experts say that they assume a factor, a creative element handed down from father to offspring, certain tendencies, qualities. This is what is called in part of the beginning of the engineering, genetic engineering. They are saying, since man, you have not changed fundamentally for thousands of years, perhaps, and they assume that man can be changed through genetic interference. We are putting it very, very briefly. It's a very complex question, which we're not going to discuss. But we must understand what's going on. That as human beings have not deeply changed their characteristics, their way of life, their violence, they are hoping through certain chemical and so on to change the genes, the factors of that create certain characteristics from the father to the son. And also we should consider what is happening in the computer world. We cannot neglect all this. The genetic engineering and what is happening in the computer world. They are trying, perhaps successfully or not, to create a mechanical intelligence, ultimate intelligence through the computer, which will then think much more rapidly, more accurately, and inform to the robots what they should do. This is happening already, and they are trying, as we have talked to others about this matter, they are trying to bring about a machine, a computer, which has ultimate intelligence. You understand all this? So, there is on that one side genetic engineering, on the other the computer taking, acting as human beings, inventing generation after generation of computer, improving, and so on. I won't go into all that. So, what is going to happen to the human mind? You understand? What's going to happen to us when the computer can do almost everything that we do? It can meditate, it can invent gods, much better gods than yours. It can inform, educate your children far better than the present educators. And it will create a great deal of leisure to man. One has seen in Japan on a television a computer instructing a robot how to build a car. And the robot did some mistake, the whole machinery stopped, and the computer told him what went wrong. And the computer did the right thing, and the whole thing started. You're understanding the nature of all this, the significance of all this. That is what is going to happen to our minds when the computer and the genetic engineering are rapidly advancing. What's going to happen to us? We'll have more leisure. The computer and plus the robot will do a great many things that we are doing now in the factories, in offices and so on. Then man will have leisure. And how will he use that leisure? You understand? Please go into this with me for a while. If the computer can outthink you, remember far more than you do, calculate with such astonishing speed, and gives you leisure. Either you pursue the path of pleasure, which is entertainment, cinemas, religious entertainments, all the industry of entertainment, including the gurus. And either entertainment or psychological search, seek out inwardly and find out for oneself a tremendous area that's beyond all thought. These are the only two possibilities left for us. Entertainment or delving into the whole structure of the psyche and acting.
The final extract in this episode is from the fourth talk in Madras 1985 and is titled Supreme Intelligence.
Have you listened to sound? Not resist it. Not say it's ugly sound. I don't know. Sound. An aeroplane passing overhead, thundering. It's a tremendous noise. Sound. Lightning. Right? We are noisy. And therefore we are seeking silence. You understand? So we have separated sound, noise from silence. As we have separated death from living. You understand what I'm saying? So our brain, our thought rather, is separating all the time. You understand? It is the nature of thought to separate. Nationally, religiously, you and I, the most learned, not ignorant, is the activity of thought which is in itself limited. Therefore, whatever it does will be limited, will be separated. Jew, Arab, Muslim and Hindu, communist, socially, you follow? All that implies a constant division. So we have separated silence from sound. Right, you get it? If you don't separate, which is not seek silence as away from sound, yes, then sound is part of silence. I wonder if you see this. Do you see this? See, when you seek out silence, you are creating disorder. And that disorder you call silence. Order is born out of, it comes into being when disorder ends, right? To find out disorder first, not seek order. why we are in, our lives are in disorder. And to go into it, find out, wipe it, and so on. When there is that comprehension completely of disorder, there is naturally order. Now when you don't separate sound from silence, there is order, complete order. Like the universe is everlastingly in order. Sun rising, sun setting, the stars, the beauty of a new moon, the full moon. The whole universe is in order. It's only the human beings are in disorder. Because they've lost their relationship with nature. They have no beauty, you won't say. So, the end of the matter is when there is no self-centeredness. There is something which is totally orderly, and that order is silence and sound, and then there is that thing that man has sought, which is timelessness. Unless you do this, all that's verbal nonsense. Unless you put your mind and heart to understand your own life, why you live this way, why you have to go to the office day after day, why you have to quarrel with your wife and husband, jealousy, all that destroys love. And without love there is no order. And where there is love, there is compassion. And where there is compassion, there is supreme intelligence. Not the artificial intelligence of a computer, nor the artificial intelligence or partial intelligence of thought. But when there is that quality of the brain, which has understood the whole business of conditioning and is free, and silence is part of that enormous sound of the universe. And where is the end of sorrow, there is passion. And compassion is that passion, and is that intelligence. Then beyond that, there is total nothingness.